Good morning, traders. It is Thursday, July 24th. Let's take a look at the markets this morning. We got some mixed markets. We have the NASDAQ up the most, up about 1/3%. It's kind of the opposite of yesterday. We have the Russell down 1/3%. So money's starting to flow into some large tech this morning, and kind of out of a bit of broad market, which is the small caps and the Dow. The Dow's down about 0.5%. Overall, the market's trying to push and grind higher. And I want to touch on a few questions from users here and just kind of go over those, because not a whole lot has changed in the market. So I want to answer some thoughts, questions, concerns, and all of that stuff. So the first one was a question about the SPY stops for our ACS strategy. Now, we got into ACS over here. It's been running up. The person said we haven't moved our stops up since we got in. We actually have moved our stop up. We got in, we hit a first small target, a very defensive target, because this market could have very quickly rolled over. We do have a break-even stop, an entry price stop. Now, we are on the verge, like a tenth of a percent away from hitting another target at 12.5%. If we hit that, then our stops will be moving up quite significantly, which we'll update on. But overall, it's not the stops that actually are the most important part of this with our strategy. Our stops are in place in case things go terribly wrong very quickly. What's going to happen is the market eventually will start to weaken and start to change. And what we'll have, just like back over here, is we'll have the market pull back. It doesn't have to pull back very much or for very long, and we have a trend change. The trend change is generally how we get kicked out of trades, not a stop that is generally moving up. So expect more so of a trend change to kick us out, not price to crash and come all the way down to a stop. And mind you, hopefully we'll hit this target. We talked about it yesterday. Once we hit this target, we really, at that point, we kind of want the markets to roll over and die and head lower and give us some more opportunity. But because we'll have most of our position in cash. We'll have locked in most of our SPY. We've locked in all of our QQQ for a 15% target as well. So that is kind of the stop view of why we haven't moved it up. Our strategy does as things mature, but we have a trend change system in place that will kick us out generally well before a stop in a market condition like this. Now, the other one is from a lady talking about she's really struggling. She got into the market and she said she hasn't made any money this year. Her SPY target is a little higher than ours. She's wondering if this strategy is good for her portfolio. And that right there just tells me a couple quick things to be aware of. If you've been using our service this year and following the ACS strategy, your account should be hitting new all-time highs. Our accounts are moving higher. So if you're not, then you're not following the trades, the specific ACS trades, which are the ones that we focus on. And on top of that, the comment says her target is a little higher than ours. So even if she is following the trades, they're not the same. She's altering them and trying to make it better. So that's what people join us for, is the strategy, are the signals, because they are proven, and it takes a lot of this emotion out of the market. So again, follow a proven strategy. Don't try to navigate. That's what I specialize in, is a strategy that can pull money out of this market and do it in a way where we don't have to stress and worry and all of that. Now, she went on to talk about she did move her money over into the US dollar a while ago. We did talk about this a few sessions ago in the morning video. Where do I draw a pencil with Trading View? Long story short, here we go. A lot of people joined and make big trading decisions at key turning points. A lot of people over here, a lot of people are doing the same right here. This is where people give up on things, or the dollar, they move out. Over here, they pile in, and then it goes against them, and then they want to get out. So I think this person ended up, rotating. And this is what most people do with even trading strategies. The market, they get in at the wrong time, and they flip strategies just before they start to work, right? And so the dollar here is definitely struggling. It's trying to figure out if it can find a bottom. But more or less, a lot of people convert over here and then move, if you're Canadian or a different currency, moved into the dollar. Of course, this was huge emotion. This was when massive people were making drastic changes to their portfolios and all of that stuff, because what they had before didn't work. And then, of course, this currency play, now it's down at a point where it's hitting a breaking point. And we see this with our inbox indicator. We see the comments. We see all of that stuff with people. Is the exact opposite of over here. And it's usually indicative of a turning point. Overall, the US dollar long-term, when we look at the long-term strategy, we go way back here. It is still... something's frozen here. But overall, it is pulling back down into a critical support zone, into this giant bull flag pattern. We've seen it spike up to these levels many times. We talked about it when it was up here. Wouldn't be surprised if it has some big pullback and pause and chops around. I am still actually bullish on the dollar at this point, but it definitely needs to find support. This is a decade-long pattern that's unfolding, and it has to have lots of wiggle room. And I don't know if this will go back any further. I guess not. But that's kind of where we are in terms of the dollar exchange. So in terms of the strategy that we do, it works exceptionally well. Just ask the thousands of members that we have, look at our comments, and try not to alter things. And again, if you're going to switch currencies, the currencies are always a wild card. It doesn't matter really what you do. There's always going to be something that we can't really fully control that well. And if you're switching currencies or even holding your own currency, you could be gaining or losing based on that currency. But we can't always protect ourselves from every single asset moving. We do have to just eventually focus more or less on the core strategy, which is how to make money in the stock market. And whether you trade the SP 500 in a Canadian currency on a Canadian ETF or a international currency and an ETF on your exchange, or you convert over, there's always going to be some wiggle room. There's no way around it of how things are moving. And the key is to not make emotional decisions and to have a strategy in place, not just to jump ship because you get nervous. And that's generally what people do, is they make a decision, they get into a trade from FOMO, they can't take the pain, or they get out because they don't know what's going on. And so overall, the strategy is very solid. It works exceptionally well. The key is to not mess around with it. And that's kind of the reality of it, and to put time in. This is an investment strategy. It's not about what a few months do in a strategy. It's what happens year after year after year, no matter what the market does, and being able to avoid chaos and reinvest and push our accounts higher without a lot of downside risk. What else do we have here? We have another person talking about gold, wondering about Fibonacci gold. He was saying that I was talking about a retracement in gold, a big retracement in gold, which he's talking about, from what I gather, the big reset. So if we go into a financial reset for gold, let me just go way back here. Financial reset in gold, that gold will have a big pullback. And for some reason, he's thinking that this little pullback that we had, well, it's consolidating in this sideways little, bull flag pennant formation. He thought that was the pullback. And what I'll be looking for is something more significant. If we have a big financial crisis, again, it depends where gold puts in a top. There is potential for it to rally up pretty significantly. And when we do have a financial crisis, if it does even rally to 41, it could pull back fairly substantially. It could pull back 20, 35%. And still have a pretty big reset from where it is. That would be equivalent to about 2008 financial crisis, back down into the 3,000, high 2000s, potentially. So right now, that reset that I've been talking about, that big one, has not happened. It is still in a bull market phase. It is still trying to figure out if this is a top or a launch pad. At this point, it looks like a launch pad. A top won't be confirmed until it actually breaks down. You need a trend to change to know it's a top. But at this point, it is still showing that pop. And I do think, as I mentioned, I think there's opportunity to the upside. And eventually, I do think it'll have some type of big reset and correction. But again, we don't bet on that correction that's not here. That's going against the trend, which is up at this point.